So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make something copiously clear. Reciting the military code of justice is not an act of sedition. And if Donald Trump thinks that reciting the military code of justice is an act of sedition that deserves death, somebody needs to throw a net over that insane bastard. My ancestors from England came over 400 years ago, and my Algonquin ancestors were here when they got here. I grew up at this place in northern Queensbury, New York. After about the age of 5, I lived at Glens Falls, also known as Wings Falls, and then moved up the ridge. That's for the Chapman Museum. I moved up the ridge to Middle Bay, later renamed Harris Bay after Wild Bill Harris. Just a little bit north of a place called Harrisina. A little bit north of Fort Edward, a little bit west of Fort Anne, and a little bit west of Bennington, Vermont, down the lake, a little bit south of Fort Ticonderoga, and about 5.5 miles, I guess, east of the Fort William Henry at a place that used to be called Caldwell. I'm very well educated in American history, Mr. Donald Trump, and my family been here for many generations. Some would say 8. I think it's more like 9. And then, of course, my Algonquin lineage goes back many, many, many generations. But let's get back to this point of fact, Mr. Donald Trump. I'm a Republican, been registered a Republican a long time, and I don't roll with these ultra left-wing nut jobs some people call Democrats. But I hear lately I've been thinking about switching back to the Democratic Party, but I don't think so. It just doesn't set right with me. And if the Republican Party won't stand up to this fat orange wannabe king, this trying to be a dictator asswipe, I'm going to have to do something here. And I've kind of been working on this, folks. You know, we got red states and we got blue states. Well, we need to have some people in the middle there. And I know people get upset when you say the white party, but I think I'm going to start the white party. You know, the guys in the white hats, like, I don't know. There's a lot of people from American history that were considered white hats. And then you had the White Rose Society that sprang up in Nazi Germany to resist Hitler. And you have the Lone Ranger. He wore a white hat. And Tano wore a hawk feather, I guess. But, yeah, I think it's time for the white party. So if anybody has any ideas how to, market the white party, and what the white party is it's people of all colors and people of all cultures coming together and representing the adults in the room. Because Donald Trump, you're not an adult. There's something wrong with you, pal. I mean, you have got serious mental problems, Donald Trump. Just like Joe Biden had serious mental problems. And Kamala Harris, I call her Chlamydia Harris, she has serious mental problems. And this Gavin Newsom, I mean, there's some things about Gavin Newsom I wouldn't give you a nickel for. This Mike Johnson's nothing but a brown noser. Tulsi Gabbard turned out to be, well, just like Bobby Kennedy. Just whichever way the wind blows, right, Bobby Kennedy? That's why your family has kind of distanced themselves from you, Bobby. Which way the wind blows, right, Bobby Kennedy? So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we got the red states, we got the blue states. Now we need to have some white party white states where people are fed up with this clown show, because that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's a clown show. When people recite the military code of justice and they're labeled as seditionists and that they deserve to be executed, you got a problem in this out of his mind Drumpfty boy there. Drumpft, I guess his real name is. His ancestry is Bavarian, Khazarian, Nazi German. Yeah, good old Donnie Drumpft. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and a message to ICE. You know, there's this thing we have in this country. It's called a Constitution. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, I know it well. I know it very well. Yes, I do. And anybody who knows me understands why. I began the study of law in 1974, and I've been practicing law basically ever since. The first time I was in a law library was at the Warren County Municipal Building, just, I don't know, maybe a week or so after my father had passed away. And I went in the law library. I wanted to know what the lawyers knew. And as I was in there looking around at the books, I don't know, I might have been a 14-year-old kid, something like that. This judge or prosecutor or some big starched white shirt and tie, slacks. He looked like a judge, I think. Might have been Mr. Herlihy. May have been Judge Herlihy. It could have been. He asked me, "Kid, what are you doing in here?" And I told this, I think he was a judge. I said, "Well, I'm studying the law. What are you doing in here?" And he didn't say anything after that. I guess he accepted that answer as close enough. So, Donnie Trump, I want to tell you something about sedition. Reciting the military code of justice is not sedition, and there's no reason for any kind of a death sentence. And you need to pass that message along to this Pete Hegseth. Because Mr. Hegseth, you're a nutcase. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it right there. There's nothing more you can say. And hasta la vista, God bless, and remember one thing. It's constitutional or it ain't happening. Have a wonderful day.